I'm Jackie Capstick, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast, The Natural Healing Wheel. My guest today is Sue London, and I'd like you to welcome her with me. Hi, Sue. How are you today?
I'm great. It's so wonderful to be here with you today.
I'm excited to have this interview with you. Sue is a pet psychic, a Reiki Master, an intuitive coach, an author, and she has lots to share with us. And I have never introduced or interviewed, anybody that has this gift that I'm aware of. So tell me all about the pet psychic thing and how did this all begin?
I was born with it and I didn't know. I've always been attracted to animals. When I was a young child, I was an only child and I was abused, and my dog Spot was like my sister, and I would talk with her and I'd hear her talk back to me, and she'd tell me, you're going to be okay and I will protect you. And I honestly thought this happens to everybody. And, then it got to be that, I was having this happen, and then I started shutting it down because people were telling me I was crazy because I could tell them what was happening with their pet. And then what happened, I started seeing like loved ones with their owners, and I would see the angels and feel them. I started experiencing in my body, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, everything that was going through every person and pet in their body when I came in contact with them.
Wow.
And I thought this is something that happened to everybody. And when I did my level 1 Reiki training, my teacher said, this is not normal. This is a gift. So then what happened, I had a near-death experience when I was in my 30s. I was going through Crohn's disease at the time, and my intestine burst. And the doctor said, you have 30 minutes to live. Who do you want to say goodbye to? Wow. And I wanted my dog Rocky. And he was a little Shih Tzu, and he got me through disease, divorce, abuse, the near-death experience, a life and death pregnancy, and so much more. So wow. I wanted my dog. And so just before I finished my sentence, I ended up going to the white light and having the near-death experience. And I was stopped by my grandfather. Now, I was at a place in my life where I was depressed, and I was devastated that here I finally had children, because it took a long time to get pregnant, because with Crohn's disease, the hormones affect you being able to get pregnant. So when I was flared up, I couldn't get pregnant. So here I am pregnant, these little children, I'm running, needing washrooms, can't enjoy what an everyday mother would be able to do, like walking her children around the block. And I was, really questioning what kind of a mother was I, and this was bad for my children and all this stuff. So this is my mindset at the time, right? So my grandfather met me, and he was my best friend when he was alive, and my support system. And I didn't know until later that he was also a psychic medium. So I learned over the years that this is where I got my gifts. And so I had the near-death experience, and he said, you have to go back. Jesus was at his side too. So I had I was getting it. You're
big not guns. You had the big guns there.
Exactly. I was trying to figure out how to say that to you.
Yeah.
So anyways, what happened, they said I had to go back because I had a destiny to fulfill. And that was that I had to come back and help millions of people and their pets around the world, millions. And I thought at that time, I'm a stay-at-home mom who's being abused by my husband, who is not a good mother because I'm in and out of hospitals. What can I simply do? And it literally became life-changing for me just after that. And what happened, I came back from that experience. I came home I think I was in the hospital 5 months after my intestine burst, and they had to take 3 feet of my intestine out. And I was hooked up on poles to, be intravenously fed. My weight was just down to 80 pounds. So it kind of shows you where I was at, right? So when I came home, that's when I learned my husband had an affair for many years. And so I thought, what, life is way too short, and I was not going to accept this. And that was the beginning of my new life. And
can I ask a question? When did you find out that you had the Crohn's? were you married at that point,
I
or?
was. Well, as a child, I was diagnosed May 1st of 1989. And doctors were telling me in my childhood, I didn't have good circulation and that I was very tired. I was anemic a lot, but like I'm going to be 60 in November, and going back when I was 10 and 20, they didn't know what Crohn's disease was. So when they diagnosed me when I was 29 years old, they looked back at my chart and they said, oh my gosh, if we had known, you actually had Crohn's disease for years, but we didn't have a title for it then. So how they figured it out was when I had my first baby, I had trouble getting pregnant. And then they can relate that because that was the hormones changing, with Crohn's and trying to get pregnant. It's very hard to have happen. And it took 4 years before I could get pregnant. So then I get pregnant, and then the baby's 9 months old. Then I started losing weight, and I'm thinking, this is great. I'm losing the baby fat, and I'm looking good and I'm getting back. But they were getting more concerned. And in a matter of a couple of months, I lost like 60 pounds.
Wow.
And then they were like, okay, this is getting serious now. And then I had to go in, and it was just full blown. In a matter of 3 months, I had to have the first surgery. And here's, this little baby, she's only 9 months old. And I had to learn how to cope. And then there was my dog that, would come in the washroom and look after my baby. Well, I'd be sick on the, both ends going. I don't want to be graphic for your audience, but to kind of give you the point what it was like, right?
Yeah.
And so that was my life for many years. And, so with Crohn's, they looked back and they saw everything that I had gone through. And, now I can tell you that I got rid of the abusive ex-husband. I showed him the door, and then my doctor wrote on my file, the stress was gone from my life and that the disease would go very soon. And then I went
to ease in the body that starts it all, right?
It's all the root was all the fear and all this, right? And so I saw my gastroenterologist, and he said to me that I was completely cured of Crohn's disease. But I have to tell people listening, it is possible, but you have to do a lot of work on yourself. And you got to clear all your stuff. You got to, mentally, you got to get in this mindset that you can get better, and that you got to like clear anything that's negative in your life. And that's people, and that's environments and things like, there's no drinking in my life. I don't smoke or do anything or eat very, very healthy. And no sugar, no dairy. I did all this, and then the disease is gone, and I am 100% healthy now.
Well, you know what? That's incredible. I have a best girlfriend who has had a long journey with this as well, and so I understand it, and I apologize for you having to deal with that. It's a big life. Your body's not doing that, and I think she had lost like most of her large intestine at one point and was on the table. They just flying blood in for a report. I shouldn't be sharing this, but it's such an incredible thing to have to go through. And
I'm a firm believer that everything happens in our life for a reason. And I will tell you that having that disease actually made me a stronger person. It showed me how strong I was that I didn't know I was. It helped me to eat better. It helped me to really look at what I really wanted in my life. Like when having a near-death experience, it makes you see how life is so short. And, what do you want to put up with in your life, right? And, going through that, and like my doctors will send their patients, and I've worked with over 10,000 like people with bowel disease. Wow. And the first thing I'll say is, are you ready to let this go? And some people, and everyone's in their own place, but, some have reasons in their mind that they feel it's better for them to be sick. And, I can't take my time to help people that don't want my help, but there are people out there. But then the ones that, want my help, I am like more than willing to help them. And
it's a journey, isn't it? To have that awareness of what needs to happen. And, I know through my journey, we tend to go and blame ourselves, because that tends to be what society does, the judgment and everything that goes on us, and that people looking down their nose, well, she's this or she's, without knowing. And then we generationally take that on as well, I believe, right?
Right. Well, and see, I went through abuse too, from my father,
Yes.
from my ex-husband. And so, I mean, you think that you're responsible for it because
Yes.
they tell you that, right? And
Yes.
and like I'm really blessed now. Like I spent after I showed my ex the door, I spent 5 years working on myself, and I was writing total truth letters to get out of my anger and all my negative feelings that I had, like what I'd gone through from the abuse from these two men, you know, and just really worked on myself. And then I attracted Mr. Right. And I've been with my husband Ross for 20 plus years. And
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that,
so,
because
and
that's the
he,
blessing, right? That you
well,
get the crap and then you get the good, the golden stuff for working through that stuff, right?
exactly. And I want to say too that, when you get yourself into a new vibration of like honoring yourself, respecting yourself, and, really being responsible for yourself and not being like blaming others or saying, well, you did this or this kind of thing, or, you can get out of that place. And my husband now, he doesn't call me his wife. He calls me his adventure because he's
I got
literally never knows what we're going to do next. And so
love
2 weeks ago, I said, hon, we're doing a pet summit and we're raising money for Dog Guides of Canada. He said, of course we are,
I
So,
love it. That's awesome.
you know,
This is such great information to share. Wow. There's so many people out there that are animal lovers that, the people that don't have the animals don't really understand, but when you have that relationship with an animal or animals, you can't even
no.
begin to explain that.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite
Well,
divine.
and I want to say to people like that, if you have any health problems, the best medicine, and I'm not ever saying quit medicine. I want to make sure you understand that. But the best medicine that was for me was my dogs. And they still are, because they sense what I need, what you need, and they will do whatever it is that you need to help you to, feel that unconditional love, to ease your pain, to give you the courage and strength. And I give full credit to my pets to give me that courage and strength to do so much I had to do in my life. And I've gone into sick kids hospitals with our pets and done pet therapy. I've gone in.
I've seen lots of that now. That became a big thing actually, didn't it? Not too long ago.
Yeah.
Like,
And, like when I was sick with Crohn's, in order for, when I was pregnant, let me go back. When I was pregnant with my second daughter, my weight went down to just 80 pounds. And I mean, I'm normally about 160. So I went down to half my weight, and I was in the hospital for a few months. And the doctor, what happened, the Crohn's disease flared up. It was almost like as soon as I got pregnant, the disease flared up because of the hormonal change. Right. And so I was in the hospital, and the doctor I had came in one day and he said, okay, he says, this has gone on long enough. He says, you have to tell me who's going to live, either you or your baby. And I thought, wait a minute, my belief is that everything happens in our life for a reason. And sometimes we don't understand it. But if we keep that in our mind that we're going through this for a reason, then it makes it easier for us to handle, right? So I thought for a minute, and I thought, no, that I am pregnant for a reason. I don't know what that is right now, but I will, be able to deliver a beautiful, healthy baby. We will both survive, and we will both do amazing stuff together, right? And so my decision I made was I fired my doctor. And he was shocked. He's like, you can't fire me. And I said, yes, I can. And I said, I will get a new doctor who believes in miracles, believes that anything's possible. And so it was quite a lesson for him. So the next day, a new doctor comes in, and he looks around, he saw pictures of Rocky, and he said, you missing your dog, right? And I said, absolutely. He says, well, we're going to get that boy down here. Now here's the healing power of pets in action. Okay. So I'm at this point where my weight is 80 pounds. I've lost half my body weight. I've severe morning sickness and like not keeping anything in, an IV hooked up to the side of me with a pole that just to get back to the washroom. I had to have people hang on to each side of me to go to the washroom, just 4 feet away. I was weak. I was like fainting. So the nurse comes in and says, you've got a visitor. At that time, back in 1992, pets weren't allowed in hospitals. So I had to get out on the patio that was about 600 feet down the hall. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to see my dog. And just that knowing that I was going to be able to see and feel my pet and cuddle it and have him lick my face, because I love that part. And I just knew that I couldn't wait for that wheelchair, that she was going to be about another 10 minutes. So all I did was I visualized in my mind that I'm going to see my dog. I'm going to see my dog. And I grabbed the IV pole and I just focused on him in my mind. And then I focused, okay, I'll get from the bed to the wall. And then it was like from the wall to the door. Then it was from the door to the railing. And then I went step by step, took my step, grabbed the IV pole and went down next step. And I did that for 600 feet. And I got down that hall just because my dog gave me that strength to do that. And I saw him through that glass door and he was jumping up and wagging his tail. And my heart just soared and the strength filled my body that I could never explain to somebody unless you've experienced it. And I went home 2 days later and I delivered that beautiful baby. It was a baby girl. And that was 29 years ago now. And on my husband's 65th birthday, she gave him this gift. He opened it and it was an ultrasound of her baby. So
You're going to make me cry. This is,
I know I get
story.
choked up telling the story because
Wow.
oh my gosh, this is like such incredible, such miracles that have happened. And of course I start crying because I think of what Rocky did for me. Right.
Yeah.
And so you think you're crying now, you should see me at her wedding when she got married. I was like a basket case and everyone's like, oh, you're such a suck. And I said, but I look at this as such an incredible miracle.
Absolutely.
I'm alive to see it all, so.
Yeah. And it was through your intention of, that's a big point that you made there, because so many of us are told by somebody of authority. Yep. They're just people. They went to school, they got an education, they did well in that area.
Yep.
And they call our life. And I've had so many experiences with family members where this has happened, and then they've moved on to somebody else and had this full other diagnosis. And back then you didn't do that.
Yeah.
Now we know that we need to advocate for ourselves.
Absolutely.
But holy cow, good for you, because you went through that so you could share it and show people that that's
absolutely thing. And what I'm finding now, there's like the energy in the world is changing so much. And there's a lot of people coming to me saying their pets are crazy. And it's not that the pets are crazy, but what's happening is the stress that people are under now with, we got COVID, we got a war, we got, there's so much chaos happening in so many areas. People are out of work, so much of so much, right? Of different categories. Yeah. And so what's happening, these people are so stressed and their pets are beside them, and the pets, they take on the role of absorbing the energy, because like doing pet therapy is they take our energy to make us feel better. And people are coming to me saying, I feel really sick. And, people are learning that they're actually empathic. Like I'm working with the people to help them understand that the abilities they have are that they can feel energy, and they have to learn to protect their energy with this, right? And then I've got the pet owners coming to me saying, my dog is having seizures and I don't understand why. But what's happening is these animals are absorbing this energy, and it's so much on their little systems that it's putting them in shock. So I'm teaching people how to change, like to release that energy off their pets too. And
I know this to be 100% true.
Uh-huh.
I have a big golden doodle, and he looks after the whole house, and his energy, he's anxious, and he's all the kids and the pool, and and I know and see it. And then I'll give him some Reiki, not that I'm trained in it, but just know
healer
work. And boy, I can feel him. He's older now, and he's got the lumps, but he'll be almost stiff, and I'll be looking at him like, gosh, you dad, like, because he's just getting older, and he's got things that are breaking down. I'll do that. And his whole body will end up just being soft and moving. And it shifts him so much. And I know it's because he's taking on the whole energy from everybody, and me being an empath as well.
I know.
I feel like yourself. Oh, it's a double-edged sword, that empathic stuff, because I feel, and like you're saying, I know and feel, and to such a degree, and especially in these energies now, like it's really amplified.
It's really crazy. And there's new people that are coming into this, and it's confusing for them, you know? So I'm really blessed that I've gone through all this so I can help them to understand. One of the things, I have my dogs here, but I won't grab them. But can I kind of tell your audience how they can clear the energy? Because everybody can do this.
Love that.
Okay.
Love
that. What you can do is, your pet's laying on their bed, or they're on the floor, or if they're tiny, laying in your arms. And what you do, and I recommend people to do this twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. My dogs get little Reiki, because I'm a Reiki master. I teach this. I teach people how to do the Reiki on how to clear the energy and all this, right? So my dogs get the Reiki as well as, the clearings, okay? And I do it 3 times a day, okay? So what you do is you start like their little nose, okay? And you would just kind of like, how you're kind of just patting them, and you go down their spine, and then so here's, I'm really visual here with this. So
let's do it. Yeah.
And here's the spine. And then, so here's their little tails, and you go down. So you're kind of patting it. And then when you get at the end of the tail, like flick it like this and flick it into the earth. And what you're doing is not on another pet, or not on a child or yourself. And you're kind of like, you're brushing the negative energy off of them. And then you start at the top of the head, you go down their little ears, and you flick it down, and you go down the legs, each leg, right? And down their back of their legs. And then you start on the chest and go down the chest and on their belly. Everywhere where there's body, you would brush it, right? Like, kind of brush it down, brush it off, and make sure every time you're flicking it. And that can be so helpful for your pets. I'm having so many people come to me with that. And I got the message this morning at 3:00 in the morning that I have to make a little free video series for that, for people to do, because it makes me sick feeling that there's so many pets out there that would not be having these seizures if the owner would just simply do that for them.
And intuitively, not knowing, that is exactly what I do with my dog.
Good girl.
I always kind of start right kind of in his third eye, right? and just moving that energy off them and just holding it. You can just feel like their whole body becomes supple.
Well, they do.
It's incredible, and it happens so quickly that you really get that feedback that what you're doing is actually working or helping.
And so you imagine, like, if you, like, we walk our dogs every day. We go for a good hour walk every day. Where I live is close to Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada.
Nice.
So we are right at the water. So, we're getting clearing from the water. We're getting clearing from the nature, the energy of nature, and our walking, getting our movement, and the birds singing. Like, it couldn't be more perfect, right? Yeah. And so, even when we go for a walk, somebody can walk by us, and if they're not in a good state, we all could feel this energy, right? So that's why I say, when you go out, your pets, you might think, okay, well, I've done this brushing, this morning, and everything's good. But if your pet goes out and there's neighbors over arguing, or they can feel them in the house, it doesn't have to be right in front of you, because some people think that the pet has to, or you have to be right near that person to feel stuff. And as you know, you don't have to be that, like, right. You could be talking to them on the phone. You could be watching the news. You could be watching a TV show. It's easy to pick up energy, negativity, right?
All day long. And what I've learned, actually, and I was speaking with somebody yesterday on a podcast about this, is that 90% of the energies that we're feeling in our body are not ours.
Oh, that's right. It's
only 2%. And so constantly, like you were saying, 3 times a day, this is something that I've learned, and it's really powerful, because even if you're driving and all of a sudden next thing you know, you're feeling kind of agitated, angry, whereas you were just singing a minute ago, nothing's happened. You're picking up other people's energies, and we're not, we don't understand. We're not aware that that's actually what's happening. We believe it's our stuff again, and then we're back into, what's that all about?
Oh yeah. And like when I first got my level 1 Reiki training, that really opened me up. And so I'm a child with all these abilities and nobody could tell me. And I was seeing angels. And I can remember when I was 18, I went to our church and I said to our minister that, is there such thing as angels? Like, tell me more about this, thinking I'm going to get some answers about this because I didn't know who to turn to.
Yes.
And this minister's told me there was no such thing as angels. And I thought, isn't this in the Bible? Like that was really confusing for me. So,
isn't that sad?
oh,
That
very much so. Very much so.
here you're thinking you're going to have some support in this place.
Exactly.
Where
Right.
that's taught.
Right. So like everything I went through is taking me to this time period in the world where I needed to educate people. And so when I did my level 1 Reiki, my teacher didn't know how to help me because she said she never experienced this. So she never taught us about protection, right? We've got to protect our energy. So here I finished my training, I go shopping and I'm in this mall. And like you said, feeling stuff. And this man walked by me and I just thought, oh, hi, friendly. And then he walked by and I felt this really bad headache and then he was gone and then the headache went away. Somebody else walked by me and then they must have had stomach issues because my stomach started. And this went on for months for me because I didn't know about protection, that you've got to put this shield of protection around you, right? So that's really important that people need to know. You have to do that now.
Every day.
Every
sometimes throughout the day.
Yeah, I do it I check in every hour. And if I hear like in the morning, like I plan the night before every single thing I'm doing in the day with my meetings, with what I have to do, with where my exercise is fitting in. Now I'm knitting baby blankets. My daughter wants me to knit, so knitting time is between 9:30 at night and 1 in the morning because that's where I'm fitting in all that. And like I've got every hour accounted for. And if I get up in the morning when I have what's called my power hour, where I will meditate and put my intentions out, do clearings, send Reiki to all my Reiki students and their pets. And if I hear, don't go here, I change my schedule because I know that the higher power is protecting me and people need to do more trusting over that.
It's really a big thing, actually, isn't it? I've really gone through a section of that in my life, learning to trust and not understanding that I wasn't really trusting.
Yeah.
Because we're all living in such fear of, the contrast is so incredible right now, isn't it?
Oh, it is a test. And, there's more to come. I don't like scaring people. And I don't want to say, what I see. But I think that the more that people just go back to appreciating each other and being grateful for what you have and the small things like, I can remember my miracle baby.
Like this cup of coffee is delicious. I'm
good?
grateful for this cup of coffee.
There you go.
It's the little things, isn't it?
Right. And like my one daughter, my baby, my miracle baby, I call her. When she was 3, she would say to me, Mommy, we would go for walks and she'd say, let's stop. And she'd make me go and smell flowers on people's flower beds. And she'd say, that's really special. That's so special. Smell it. Isn't that a nice smell? And, I've always told people stop and smell the flowers because we're so busy and we see all these beautiful gardens, flowers and stuff like that. But how much do we really focus on what it looks like or what it smells like? What my husband and I love to do, we have a beautiful backyard and we have this big Buddha that's huge. When we got him, we actually had to put him in the front seat with a seatbelt on. He's that big.
I love it.
So, our thing is we like to see the morning doves and we'll listen to, the Blue Jays and the Cardinals and that's how we like to start every day.
Oh, I'd like to start every day listening to that as well. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's how we start our day. And, like I like to take every lunch hour, and or it's shorter than an hour now, but I eat outside. I get outside as much as I can, because being outside is very clearing for your energy, so.
You know what? I keep getting these messages that I need to be outside more. And
Yeah.
I'm very blessed. I live in White Rock in
Okay.
Canada. And so I'm right on the US border. So I'm right on the ocean. I can see the water.
So you're in Canada too?
I am.
I
I
didn't
am
know that.
Canadian. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have been to Niagara Falls. It's incredibly beautiful.
Okay. Yeah.
When you said that, I could hear the
Yeah.
power, very powerful.
Yeah.
Those falls are, yeah.
Yeah. It's very healing.
But I think that's probably the biggest free thing we can do for ourselves, is actually just get outside, even if you're just standing and sitting in the sun, just to feel the vitamin D coming in. Or with the COVID, I really got stuck in the house, and I got out of that whole regular routine of being out and I think what you're saying is very important, like setting that intention and just really seeing your day as you want it to be. Right?
Yeah, I do. I create my day the night before, and like my husband and I, we will sit, and like my schedule's crazy busy now. It's wonderful, and I'm very blessed, and it's all great stuff. And I have to really calm myself, because I'm so grateful that what's unfolding, to be able to give back and help people get pet therapy dogs now, from a simple interview that I'm going to do with people that will have this pet summit, it's really rewarding. So what my husband and I do, like, we will sit down the night before and say, okay, what's our main things we need to focus on? And the first thing we focus on is what time and where in the day, that next day, are we going to be out in nature and get our exercise? And
love that.
Right down to the time. Like I have a book, and I have the list, and it says on here all my, like, whatever I have with meetings and stuff like that, calls I have to make, training I'm doing, whatever I'm recording. And I'm also just finished a book last night, and I've got 3 books being published and going to be ready in the end of May.
Wow. Well, let's hear about them. What's that's exciting. Holy.
I know, right? Well, there's more I haven't even told you before we were talking. So the first book that's coming out is Signs from Your Beloved Pet. And it's kind of a book to help people understand that your pets and your loved ones, they cross over, they're still with you. And they're giving you signs and messages, but you don't understand what that is, because you don't know what you don't know. So this is a book to tell you, like, if you feel this pull to turn on your radio, there's a reason for it. So turn on that radio. And what happens often is you can be thinking about somebody, and you're wondering, are they okay? They've crossed over. Are they okay? Are they still with me? And when you turn on the radio, the lyrics will tell you that message. And I know I said this to my husband one time, just after his mom crossed over. And so, he was thinking the thought, and I could feel what he was thinking, being, psychic. And so I said, I think we need to turn the radio on now. Now, I didn't want to just say, your mom's going to give you a message on the radio, right? So I said, that I think we need to turn the radio on. So he turned it on. And then all of a sudden, the song that came on was I Will Always Love You. And as he was going to turn the radio on, I started getting very teary-eyed. So I knew it was going to be really big for him, because it comes out of me when it doesn't come out of people, right? And so he turned the radio on, and he had to pull over because it was so touching for him. And he's given me permission to share this story, by the way. I don't tell other stories, but this was so big for him, and he knows how it's helped many people as well. So that's why I'm allowed to share this with you. But, having that pull to turn the radio on gave him a message. So this is what this book is about, how they're giving us signs, messages, what they do when they turn the lights on and off. It's not a power surge, it's them connecting. Your phone rebooting, like, okay, that's not your cable or your phone, right? There's something to that. So that's what that book is about. And I've just sent it off to, get the graphic people doing their work in the publisher. That's happening.
That's awesome, because if just having that awareness that, okay, so that's what, because we're all having it. We're all intuitive. We all have these gifts.
Yeah.
People that haven't experienced it and kind of say we're crazy or whatever, they're just shut down still. They're in fear, and they haven't allowed themselves to be open enough to accept they don't want to be crazy or labeled crazy.
Well,
right? So they just keep it closed down so that they stay in the box with society.
And what's funny is I'm actually having experiences while I'm talking to new business people. And what's happening, so this pet summit we're doing is May the 2nd till the 6th, and it's called The Healing Power of Pets with Sue London and Friends. And so I was talking to somebody, my assistant. We were getting the green screen ready for how we were going to do all the recordings and stuff like that. And on the one corner, there was this little bright thing. That's all I can call is a thing, right? And I said to her, okay, I think there's some dirt on here, or is this on your screen? Or maybe did you forget to take a punctuation mark out because she has the wording beside it, and so it shows on the screen. And so I said, I think you forgot to take out maybe a hyphen or something. She says, no, it's on your end. So I'm wiping my computer screen, and I said, wait a minute. And then right beside me, I don't know if can you see this picture?
Aww.
So this is Molly. And Molly, when she crossed over, she said to me, Mommy, ask, ask, ask. And so this picture started doing this on my desk. And I said to Karina, I said, that's Molly. That's her spirit coming through. And so everyone I'm talking to over this event, Molly wants to be a part of the event. So she keeps showing herself on the screen. So all these videos we're recording for this event have her in the screen. And then when I need to have a missing piece filled or need a person or knowledge, her picture will shake on my desk. So
I love it.
Crazy, right?
Can you explain how that is possible for people who believe that we're here and then we're done? How is it that is happening? Is there? I mean, it's the energy. Can you
it's her spirit, and I think
her spirit. We're energy. That's infinite,
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So it's her energy. Like I can have okay. Here's another example of what's happens for me since COVID. So one of the things that I did when I got sick with Crohn's was that I had a trainer say to me to get out of that mindset that I was Crohn's disease and make it be I had Crohn's disease. Because a lot of people label themselves as the disease and not having it, but being it, right?
So they stay there.
Right, exactly.
Because the universe doesn't know right, wrong, good, or bad. It just knows what we're saying.
Right. So what happened? So this trainer saw me doing this, and I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. So he said, I'm giving you homework. You are once a week going to do something new. And I said, what? And he said, I want you to get in the car and go for a car ride. Now, people with bowel disease know you don't go too far from your washroom when that, I freaked. Yeah. And he says, no, I want you to do this. And so I did that. And it was so empowering because I thought, I don't have to make my life around the washroom, doctors, and hospitals. It showed me I could have a life. So then I'd go for my training again. And then he'd say, okay, so what are you going to try now? So I went on to doing rock climbing, downhill skiing, cross-country skiing. I got, my kids, we all went out. This is when I became a single mom. This is when my new life was beginning now at this point, right? So went out and got us skateboards and got, I used to have a skateboard as a kid, and we all went skateboarding. And, my kids, and they're 30 now and in their 30s. And they tell everybody their funniest moment was when mom wiped out on the skateboard. And, my leg was all bleeding, and they thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
really respectful kids, right? And
They probably just can't get over the fact that their mom's skateboarding, first of all,
Right.
let's just say that.
and so then we thought, well, we were going to learn like cross country skiing. And we thought, well, we'll go to this small hill at the community center. And I mean, a little hill, like,
In Ontario, is there a hill there?
yeah, exactly. Right. No, and I'm saying you couldn't even tell it was a hill that was that small. Right. And what happened, my skis kept crossing and I kept going backwards and I could never get up this stupid little hill.
Yeah.
And so they still talk about how bad mom was at skiing. But you know what? We created such incredible memories from doing that.
Oh,
And like all these boys came in, we 4 daughters, right? And so these boys came in our life and
you have 4 daughters?
yeah, 4 daughters, six grandchildren.
Nice.
Well, number 6 is on the way, right? And so we said like birthdays are massively huge. It's a week-long adventure. And because, life is so short and like everybody really celebrates my birthday because they know what I went through. But I do the same for our family. And each day on their birthday, we do something different. And it could be whatever, like it could be birthday message, a video. It could be, flowers sent at work or whatever, a poem sent, right?
I love that because we don't like our birthday anymore because it's not fun anymore. So
But
you've brought the fun and the magic back.
Well, you know what? Like we're lucky to be alive. So
Yeah.
celebrate it. And if you don't want to turn another year, what's your option? Right? Like, this is where you're going to end up. But so anyways, from this pattern of having to get healthy and trying new things to get away from the disease, we still continue this. And our grandchildren are doing this. And, they'll say, oh, grandma, this is what I made today. And this is what I learned to do. And this is one thing I'm really proud that my challenge has passed on such incredible things for us to do as our families,
Yes.
So that's what I recommend everybody. Shift your mindset away from that negativity and what can you learn,
Hi, thanks for watching my podcast, The Natural Healing Wheel, Part 1 with Sue London. Please stay tuned for Part 2 as we have more healing with our pets coming. If you are enjoying my podcast, The Natural Healing Wheel, please subscribe and hit